And at one particular Sunday night service, it just became very clear to me that I didn't want any part of where this was going. And had a real sense of the Spirit saying, I'll get you out of this. And that wasn't so much a rapture kind of thing as it was a revealing and gave me courage. I guess maybe it was more like feeling like the Spirit was saying, you're okay. Be strong. And in that case, eventually it was to leave. I can't explain it better than that.
And that's,
but it's my witness.
Yeah. Well, and that's, I mean, I think that's the nature of spirit encounter, of visionary journey of, I do think that I'm always most comfortable with those things happening within the context of community. Because, you know, because I think I like the whole idea of others sort of being able to hear and but I mean, I think those are all really important stories.
You're right, Reverend Kathy, because God love him. Paul says, be sure that, you know, when these things happen, that you have 2 or 3 or 1 or more that's around to interpret or to reaffirm or whatever is going on. Don't just go off wandering by yourself with it.
Right. Yeah. Don't just go wandering by yourself. Yeah, because that gets as the stories go, that gets dangerous. The wandering off by oneself. Yeah. So do we need prophecy? I want to just cover prophecy quick before we jump in. So page 89 in Barbara Rossing's book, in this chapter, at the very, very bottom, she says, the prophet's goal is to wake people up and turn people's hearts to God's vision of justice and generosity for the world. The future is not yet determined. There is hope that judgment can be averted. What do you think of that?
I think that's absolutely perfect. You look at Jeremiah, you look at all of the prophets in there, and all of them, it was the please, if you turn, if you do this. And even when Jesus is talking in Luke, don't say, I remember, I'm just happen to be reading it. Where he says it would be better for Tyre and Sidon than for, you know, Capernaum and Bethsaida, because they turned.
Yeah. Turn, that's what the prophet, and that's what the prophet does. Calls the people to turn around, turn toward God, and change the path that they're on. Right?
Yeah, the people of Nineveh changed their path. The people of Sodom and Gomorrah did not.
No, you're right.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how the story of Noah fits into this, because they don't really talk too much about offering them the hope. But I just have to say that the Jewish theologian she quotes has the same first name as my grandfather.
Oh.
On page 90 there?
Yes. Yecheskel.
Yes.
Well, there you go.
I mean, maybe in Jewish circles, it's a common name. It's Ezekiel in English.
Top of page 91. While Revelation's prophetic threats sound concrete. Their primary purpose is to warn people. Revelation does not map out a divine script for the world's destruction. The goal of prophecy is rather to turn the world to God, to lift up a vision so that threats of destruction will not be carried out. God does not want to hurt or destroy the world, and God certainly does not determine the script in advance. I think that's fabulous. And for me, there's a however, because I do have a little however in that I still am not convinced that God would ever hurt or destroy creation. I would be fully willing to try for someone to try and convince me otherwise. But I just can't at this moment go to a place where I mean, and that's part of the narrative of rapture. Is that
I'm quite convinced that humanity's gonna destroy itself.
it's
Not
humanity,
God's,
right?
not God's doing it, but a human will do it themselves.
That's the point exactly, Jane. That God's not. God will not destroy, but that
God's trying to save us
destruction
by
happens,
sending us Jesus.
yeah, if this destruction happens, it's of human hands. That would be the only caveat I would have to that paragraph. And my hunch is that Barbara Rossing would agree with that. But there you go.
I'm
Okay.
afraid we're on our way to it.
Well, we can always be called back. And that's what this is about. That's why we are agents of resurrection. That's what I mean, Jane Syme, when I talk about co-conspirator with God. So we are agents of resurrection. It is not up to us, but we participate in that hope. Jane.
Could not the prophet for that be the young woman from Norway? And I can't think of her name, for heaven's sake.
Greta Thunberg.
Thank you.
Yeah. There you go. Prophets today who call us back, call us to change, call us to do something different. Yeah, I think you're absolutely right there. And are there others, when we look at the horrors of human existence, gun violence, who are the prophets?
Yeah.
That call us from the brink.
Mm-hmm.
And do we listen and do we change?
Mm-hmm. And Emmett Till's mother in the 50s.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yes.
The young people from March for Our Lives.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And how do we help? So how are we agents of hope in helping people to listen to that, helping people to hear and then do whatever that new scary thing, because it's always scary. I mean, that's one of the things I think that is such a clear a thread through the whole scripture is that transformation calls us to change. And sometimes that change is scarier than stasis, right? Mm-hmm. And so that's why we don't, because it's the unknown, and the unknown scares us. And, the primal unknown, death, is what scares us so terribly. So why do we not change? Because the horror of the present is more comfortable than the unknown horror. So we just stay put.
That's a great way to say it.
And so that's where we get the language of Jesus that says, lay that burden down. You've got to lose your life in order to gain it. That's what that's about.
Yeah. I was thinking about a sense of loss and how controlling that is
Mm-hmm.
in changing things.
Mm-hmm.
What am I going to lose if I do this?
Right. Right. And is that loss greater than or lesser than whatever is out there in the unknown for me to yeah, that's who we are. That's who us human beings are. Yeah. So here we have our character Scrooge, who is called to an unknown future that for him must be terrifying. Just terrifying.
It's interesting that that's why God calls us to live in community, right? Because it's easier to walk towards the unknown in community.
Mhm.
And Scrooge was alone because he had destroyed his community. So, and of course, that's what created his horrible possible future. But it's interesting how what I see in that is the importance of community.
Yeah,
Interesting.
that's a great way to describe that, Annetta. Exactly. That's why we live in community. Go ahead, Sharon.
I agree with what you said, Annetta. I wonder though, I mean, certainly he did things to destroy his community, but I think he did them out of fear that that his community would be snatched away from him anyway.
Who are
And
you
so
talking
he
about?
was just
Scrooge.
Scrooge.
Oh, okay.
He was just going to control. I think he saw what he was doing as being able to control his life when he had not had any control
Well, yeah,
over
when he
how
was
his community had interacted with him previously.
school and, you know,
That's interesting. Control, isn't that something we all fight, is giving up control?
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's interesting. I'll ponder that.
And I think the more we try and control, the smaller our life gets, right?
Mhm.
That's when we start not going out of our house.
And that, yes.
Either that or 12 inches of snow will keep you in.
Well,
You have 12 inches of snow.
How many inches?
Not anymore. It melted. It melted. But yeah, sorry.
But you're absolutely right, that there's sometimes when you want to just kind of hide under sit in your chair and hide, and that's safe. That feels safe.
yeah, and our lives just get smaller and smaller and smaller. Yeah.
That's what's happening with my friend, and I feel so badly about it. And I'm 900 miles away. I can't physically do anything about it. But anyway.
Okay, so I'm looking a little bit at the introductory questions. And they're all interesting. I wonder, so I guess I just, as we have all of these things, we think about jumping into Advent. Our first, on the first Sunday of Advent, so that is 2 weeks from this Sunday, is the first and only apocalyptic reading we get this Advent. And I do believe I have it up here. Yes, I do. It's Mark 13, 24 through 37. Jesus said, in those days after that suffering, the sun will be darkened and the moon will not give its light, and the stars will be falling from heaven, and the powers in the heavens will be shaken. Then they will see the Son of Man coming in clouds with great power and glory. Then he will send out the angels and gather his elect from the four winds, from the ends of the earth to the ends of heaven. From the fig tree learn its lesson. As soon as its branch becomes tender and puts forth its leaves, you know that summer is near. So also when you see these things taking place, you know that he is near at the very gates. Truly, I tell you, this generation will not pass away until all these things have taken place. Heaven and earth will pass away, but my words will not. pass away, but about that day or hour no one knows, neither the angels in heaven nor the Son, but only the Father. Beware, keep alert, for you do not know when the time will come. It is like a man going on a journey when he leaves home and puts his slaves in charge, each with his work, and commands the doorkeeper to be on the watch. Therefore, keep awake, for you do not know when the master of the house will come, in the evening or at midnight or at cockcrow or at dawn, or else he may find you asleep when he comes suddenly. And what I say to you, I say to all, keep awake.
What passage number was that?
That is Matthew.
No, Mark.
Sorry, Mark 13, 24 through 37. And that kicks us off for Advent this year.
And that's Mark.
That's Mark.
13.
So what in this whole scheme of our thinking about apocalypse, the unveiling, the pulling back of the curtain, prophecy, how do we begin to hear that? I don't have the answer. I'm just I put that out as a wondering, because that's another one of those passages that people pull out in defense of rapture.
I'm thinking about how ironic it is that there's such push against the concept of being woke. And right here we have the command to be awake.
Yeah.
Be
I think-
aware.
I think alert
Alert.
to my mind, as we're walking around, not looking for, oh, is this going to happen today? Which, yes, we know, but to be alert to where God is taking us in our daily walk and lives in large and small ways.
Yeah, to hear, to be awake and alert, to hear the call to prophecy, that prophet's call to change, to transformation. Yeah, I mean, I think being ready is really important. And being ready is about everything we've just talked about. It's about being that co-conspirator with God. It's about living as an agent of resurrection and hope, not sitting about saying, well, God's already taken care of all this. All I got to do is wait. That's not what the Scrooge story tells us, and that's not what Scripture tells us, and I think that's not what the world tells us. Well, our culture might tell us that, but not the truth of transformation.
What are we reading for next week?
So we will read starting at 29. So that is the text of A Christmas Carol that we're reading. And then we'll read the materials that follow it. It's just discussion questions. So,
Okay, so we're reading stave 1 and the stave 1 discussion questions.
yeah.
That's the day after Thanksgiving, people. Are we doing it
No,
next
we
week?
decided.
No, we're skipping. I didn't mean next week. I meant next time.
Next time. So that
Thank you.
December 4th
And-
or whatever.
And you feel free to work through those questions as much as you want, but my hope is that you will bring then to the group your wonderings and your what those lift up for you, rather than us kind of going through each one of those and talking about them. I don't know that that's as fruitful as as you reading, you know, thinking, each one of us thinking about that, reading through them and thinking about them, and then bringing to the group the things that really piqued our interest and caused us to wonder. I do think so. Sharon did send out the that list of scripture readings. I think that's,
Which was right there in the very beginning, which of course I hadn't read yet, but
well, I didn't even that web page is kind of fascinating.
It is.
He's done a lot of work on
Mhm.
on this stuff, so it's well worth going to and seeing what else he's got there.
Yeah, the brown chair
Yeah,
link,
so we
brown
can
chair books.
brown chair books. So he's done this with a couple of different books. And what I would hope as we move along is that we keep weaving into our conversation how we are understanding apocalypse, how we are understanding Revelation, because that is part and parcel of this season of Advent. It's you know, now that we're all kind of older, Amy, I think, has the youngest kids in this group, and you know, how do we keep our kids focused on Christmas, on the reality of Christmas, rather than the cultural understanding of Christmas? I think that's really hard, and I think that that's the battle in the culture battle right now, if we're, you know, talking about culture wars. I mean, even some of these discussion questions for this part are about, you know, what is Christmas spirit, and that thing we keep getting out there about saying Merry Christmas, and what's the right saying to us that
Happy holidays.
well, yeah, but just that we need to
Okay.
that
yeah, because it's a war on Christmas.
Or
if you
that's
say
what
happy
there you go.
holidays.
Yep.
Yeah. So what it, you
And
know,
it's just, I have a lot of trouble processing that there are really people who believe
You believe what?
that if you say happy holidays instead of Merry Christmas, it's part of the war on Christmas.
yeah.
Oh,
And not
I'm-
only that, you're speaking heresy.
Yeah. There is no reason why any one of us can't say Merry Christmas to anybody else and receive a response of Happy Hanukkah, or receive a response of, you know, Happy Holidays, or, you know, and those are all, you know, I think in my world, appropriate greetings and responses. And the whole idea that there's a war on Christmas suggests again that that whole narrative of Christian nationalism.
Yeah, exactly.
We are sending, DAR nationally and internationally is sending cards and notes to veterans worldwide, and we all are just sending, thinking of you. We're not sending religious cards at all to any of the soldiers, and we're doing to active duty all over the world. So, you know, it doesn't bother me to make sure that they feel, the point is that they're being remembered and thought of and cared about.
And that they're included in community.
Exactly, that they're part of.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
although it's kind of sad because we can't say our real names. We can't know and this is important because it's going to come out on Facebook for different groups. We don't send to a specific place. We have one person, so that the safety of our people is foremost, that we only they know where it is and can disperse it so that you're not, these places that say send it to Landstuhl or send it to Walter Reed or what, no. We have to consider safe. And again, that's a part of community, keeping them safe.
Yeah. Okay.
Lots of ways. So we'll see you in 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Okay.
Some
when
of
you
you I'll see next week. I'll be there. I'm not sure what my travel is, but I haven't
Okay.
figured it all out yet, but
Oh,
Yeah.
that's right. Yes.
yeah.
Okay.
All right. Well, happy Thanksgiving to everyone.
Giving to you.
Annetta, it was
Thanksgiving to you and
glorious to
everyone.
see you again.
Yeah.
I'll be back.
I'm
I'll be
God
hoping
back.
bless you. And travel, safe travel.
2 weeks from today.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Happy
Love you all.
Thanksgiving.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.